Captain Sarah Chen stood at the bridge of her ship and looked at the star map. The red zone in front of them glowed like a warning sign. Every officer on the bridge knew what that red zone meant. It was the Kepler Nebula. Everyone in the galaxy called it the Maw. "Captain, we are getting close to the border," said Lieutenant Torres from the navigation station. Her voice was calm, but Chen could hear the worry in it. Chen nodded. She had been thinking about this moment for weeks. The UHSV. Defiance was not the biggest ship in the human fleet. It was not the fastest either. But it was her ship and her crew. 200 brave men and women who had volunteered for this mission. They all knew what they were flying into. The Maw had been killing ships for over 100 years. Not just human ships. Ships from every race in the galaxy. The tall blue Zephyrians with their crystal technology had lost 12 vessels there. The Collective, a race that shared one mind across millions of bodies, had sent their best ships into the E. None came back. Even the ancient Vorthon Empire, rulers of half the galaxy, would not go near that place. "Show me the records again," Chen said to her science officer. Dr. James Rodriguez touched his screen and the main display changed. Now it showed a list of all the ships that had gone into the Maw and never returned. The list was long. Very long. 87 ships from 23 different species, Rodriguez said. The last one was a Vorthon battlecruiser. That was 6 months ago. It had shields that could stop a star going nova. The ship was there one moment and gone the next. Chen looked at the faces of her crew. They were scared. She could see it in their eyes. But they were still here, still ready to do their job. "Captain," said Communications Officer Park, "we are getting a message from the Galactic Council station." Put it on screen. The face of Ambassador Krell appeared on the main display. Krell was a Vorthon, one of the oldest races in the galaxy. His gray skin looked like old stone and his 4 eyes never blinked. When he spoke, his voice sounded like rocks grinding together. "Captain Chen," Krell said, "the Council has voted. The Kepler Nebula is now forbidden to all ships. No one may enter that region of space. This order applies to all member species." Chen stepped forward. "Ambassador, with respect, humanity volunteered for this mission. We knew the risks when we took the job." Krell made a sound that might have been laughter but sounded more like breaking glass. "Captain, your species has been in space for less than 200 years. You have no shields like the Zephyrians, no shared mind like the Collective, no battle experience like the Vorthons. What makes you think you can succeed where we have failed?" "Maybe that is exactly why we might succeed," Chen said. Krell's 4 eyes stared at her for a long moment. "You are either very brave or very stupid, human. The Council has spoken. Do not enter the Maw." The screen went dark. Chen turned to her crew. Every person on the bridge was looking at her, waiting for her decision. "Lieutenant Torres, what is our current position?" "We are at the border of the restricted zone, Captain. The Maw starts 5,000 kilometers ahead." "Chief Engineer Kowalski, how are our systems?" "All green, Captain. The ship is ready for whatever comes next." "Dr. Rodriguez, do we have all the sensor data from the previous expeditions?" "Yes, Captain. I have studied every report, every scan, every last transmission from the ships that went in." Chen walked to the center of the bridge. She thought about her crew, about the families they had left behind on Earth, about all the ships that had died in the Maw, about the Galactic Council that thought humans were too weak and too stupid to matter. "Everyone listen to me," she said. "I will not lie to you. The Maw has killed every ship that has gone into it. We might die in there. We probably will die in there. But we came here to do a job, to solve a mystery that has puzzled the galaxy for a century, to find out what is really happening in that nebula." She paused and looked at each face on the bridge. Every other race that went into the Maw had better technology than us. Better weapons, better shields, better everything. They all died. But maybe that is the problem. Maybe the answer is not having the best technology. Maybe the answer is something else. "What do you mean, Captain?" asked Torres. "I mean, maybe the answer is being human," Chen said. "Every other race in the galaxy thinks like machines. They calculate everything. They predict everything. They plan for everything. But humans are different. We adapt. We improvise. We do things that do not make sense to anyone else. Engineer Kowalski smiled. So we are going in? We are going in, Chen said. But first, I want everyone to understand something. This is a volunteer mission. Anyone who wants to leave can take a shuttle back to the council station. No one will think less of you. Chen waited. No one moved. No one spoke. All right then, she said. Lieutenant Torres, set course for the center of the maw. Full speed ahead. Course set, Captain. Engage. The Defiance turned toward the red zone on the star map, toward the place where 87 ships had died, toward the mystery that the galaxy's greatest minds could not solve. As they crossed into the maw, Chen felt something she had not expected. She felt hope. Maybe the other races were right. Maybe humans were too stupid to know when they should be afraid. But sometimes being stupid was exactly what the universe needed. The first hour inside the maw was quiet. Too quiet. Captain Chen stood on the bridge watching the swirling purple and gold clouds of the nebula flow past their ship. It was beautiful in a way that made her skin crawl. Sensors are picking up debris. Ahead, said Dr. Rodriguez. Looks like pieces of a ship. Chen moved to look at his screen. Floating in the colorful gas clouds were chunks of metal and crystal. The pieces were too small to identify which race they came from. But she knew. This was all that remained of someone's crew, someone's friends. Any signs of what destroyed it? She asked. No, Captain. The debris pattern is strange. It looks like the ship was pulled apart piece by piece, not blown up or cut apart. Just torn. Lieutenant Torres looked up from her navigation station. Captain, I am getting some weird readings from the gravity sensors. Chen walked over to Torres. The young woman was one of the best pilots in the human fleet. If she was worried about something, Chen wanted to know what it was. What kind of readings? The gravity here keeps changing. 1 second it is normal. The next second it is 10 times stronger. Then it goes back to normal. I have never seen anything like it. Chief Engineer Kowalski spoke up from his station. That would explain the debris. If gravity keeps jumping around like that, it would rip any ship apart. Chen frowned. But why didn't the other ships detect this? The Zephyrians have gravity, sensors better than ours. Rodriguez was studying his computer. Maybe they did detect it. Look at this data from the last Vorthan ship. Their sensors recorded the same gravity changes we are seeing. Then why did they not avoid it? Because look at the pattern they recorded. Rodriguez put the Vorthan data on the main screen. It showed a neat, organized chart of gravity readings. Their computers tried to make sense of the chaos. They created a pattern that was not really there. Chen stared at the screen. The Vorthan data looked clean and simple, but the real gravity readings from their own ship looked like a mess. Random spikes and drops with no order at all. Their computers were too smart, she said slowly. They tried to find logic in something that has no logic. Exactly, said Rodriguez. The gravity changes are not random, but they are not following any pattern we can predict. It is like quantum mechanics. You cannot know where an electron will be, but you can work with the uncertainty. Suddenly alarms started ringing all over the bridge. Torres grabbed her controls as the ship shook hard. Gravity spiked directly ahead, she shouted. It just went up to 20 times normal. Chen felt her body press down into the floor as the artificial gravity inside the ship fought against the outside force. Through the front window, she could see space itself bending and twisting. Can we go around it? Chen asked. I do not know where around is, Torres said through gritted teeth. The spike is moving. The invisible force grabbed their ship and started pulling it towards something they could not see. Chen watched the stress. Readings on her screen climb higher and higher. In a few more seconds, the Defiance would be torn apart just like all the other ships. Forget the computers, Chen said suddenly. Torres, stop looking at the screens. Just fly. Captain, do not think about it. Do not try to understand it. Just feel what the ship is telling you and react. Torres closed her eyes for a moment. Then her hands started moving over the controls in ways that made no sense to anyone watching. She pushed the engines in directions that should have made their situation worse. She turned toward the gravity spike instead of away from it. But it worked. The ship slipped sideways out of the invisible grip and shot forward into clear space. "How did you do that?" Kowalski asked. Torres looked surprised. "I do not know. I just felt where the ship wanted to go." Another gravity spike appeared to their left. This time Torres was ready. She moved the ship in a dancing pattern that looked crazy but kept them safe. Then another spike. And another. For the next 2 hours, Torres flew the Defiance through a maze of invisible death traps. Sometimes she would turn the ship upside down for no reason anyone could see. Sometimes she would speed up when logic said they should slow down. But every time, she kept them alive. The other members of the crew started to understand. Engineer Kowalski stopped trying to predict when the engines would be stressed. Instead, he watched the ship's reactions and adjusted power in real time. Dr. Rodriguez stopped trying to map the gravity fields and started just recording what actually happened. "We are doing something no other race would do," Chen said as she watched her crew work. "We are not trying to control the chaos, we are dancing with it." "The other ships tried to fight their way through," Rodriguez said. "They used brute force and logic. But this place does not respond to force or logic." "What does it respond to?" Torres asked while smoothly avoiding another gravity trap. Chen smiled. "Intuition. Creativity. The ability to do something stupid that somehow works." As if to test her words, 3 gravity spikes appeared at once. They formed a triangle around the ship with no obvious way out. Torres studied the situation for exactly 2 seconds. Then she did something that made everyone on the bridge hold their breath. She flew straight up. The gravity spikes were designed to catch ships trying to go around them or through them, but Torres went over them in a direction that should have been impossible in space. Somehow it worked. "We are getting deeper into the maw than any ship has ever gone," Rodriguez reported. "We are past the point where the last Vorthon ship died." Chen looked at her crew. They were tired but excited. They had solved a puzzle that had killed dozens of more advanced ships, not by being smarter or stronger, but by being human. "Keep going," she said. "Let us see what is really hiding in the center of this place." The center of the maw was not what Captain Chen expected. Instead of more deadly gravity traps, they found empty space. Perfectly calm, perfectly still empty space. It felt wrong after hours of dancing through invisible death. "All gravity readings, normal," Torres reported. She sounded confused. "It is like we just walked out of a storm into a quiet room." Dr. Rodriguez was staring at his sensors with his mouth open. "Captain, you need to see this." Chen moved to his station. On the screen was something that should not exist. A structure floating in space. It was huge, bigger than any city on Earth. But it was not built by any race she knew. The structure looked like it was grown instead of built. Smooth curves and flowing lines connected massive chambers that glowed with soft blue light. There were no sharp edges anywhere, no visible engines or weapons. It just hung there in the calm center of the maw like it had been waiting for them. "Is it a ship?" Chen asked. "I do not think so," Rodriguez said. "Look at these readings. The metal is not metal. It is something else. Something organic but not alive. And it is old. Very old." "How old?" Rodriguez checked his instruments twice before answering. "Maybe 1,000,000 years, maybe more." The communications officer looked up from her station. "Captain, I am picking up a signal from the structure. It is very faint." "What kind of signal?" "It sounds like music, but also like data. Like someone is trying to talk to us and sing to us at the same time." Chen made a decision that she knew was either very brave or very stupid. "Torres, take us closer." Slowly. As the Defiance moved toward the ancient structure, more details became clear. The flowing walls were covered in symbols that seemed to move and change as they watched. Passages and tunnels led deep into the structure, and everywhere that soft blue light pulsed like a heartbeat. "Captain," Rodriguez said quietly, I am detecting other ships inside that thing. Chen felt her blood turn cold. What kind of ships? All kinds. Zephyrian crystal ships, collective bioships, Forthon war cruisers. They are all in there. All the ships that disappeared in the Maw over the last century. Are there any life signs? Rodriguez shook his head. No. The ships are empty. But they are not destroyed. They look like they just landed. As they got closer, Chen could see that Rodriguez was right. Through the transparent walls of the structure, she could see dozens of alien ships. They sat in vast chambers like vehicles in a parking garage. Some she recognized from the Galactic database. Others were completely unknown. There, Torres said, pointing through the front window. That passage is big enough for our ship. The passage looked like the mouth of some giant creature, but the soft blue light inside was welcoming, not threatening. Chen felt like the structure wanted them to enter. Take us in, she said. The Defiance flew through the passage and into a chamber that was perfectly sized for their ship. As soon as they were inside, the passage sealed behind them with flowing metal that moved like water. We are trapped, Kowalski said. Or protected, Chen replied. She was not sure why, but she did not feel afraid. The structure felt safe. Old and powerful, but safe. Captain, Rodriguez said with wonder in his voice. The air in here is breathable, and there is gravity. This place is maintaining a perfect environment for us. How does it know what we need? I think it has been studying our ship since we entered the Maw. A new voice spoke from the communication system. Not through the radio, but directly through their computers. The voice was calm and ancient and spoke perfect English. Welcome, humans, we have been waiting for you. Chen stepped forward even though there was no one to step toward. Who are you? We were the first to reach the stars. We built this place as a test for those who would come after us. Many have tried to pass. All have failed, until now. What kind of test? A test of wisdom, of character, of the ability to think beyond logic and calculation. The species that came before you tried to conquer our defenses. You chose to dance with them instead. The main screen lit up with images. Chen saw the Zephyrians trying to blast through the gravity traps with their crystal weapons. She saw the collective sending ship after ship, each one following the same failed plan as the last. She saw Vorthan commanders making careful battle plans that meant nothing against chaos. They all believed that superior technology would solve any problem, the voice continued. They could not accept that some puzzles require intuition instead of logic, creativity instead of calculation, cooperation instead of conquest. So you killed them? Chen asked. We did not kill anyone. We brought them here to keep them safe while they learned. But they never learned. They spent years in our chambers, trying to find a technological solution to leave. They never understood that the answer was to ask for help. Chen looked around the bridge at her crew. What do you want from us? We want to know if humanity is ready for what comes next. The galaxy faces a threat that cannot be defeated with weapons or shields. It requires the one thing your species possesses that others do not. What is that? The willingness to sacrifice everything for strangers, to put the lives of others before your own survival, to choose hope over logic when all seems lost. The structure around them began to change. Walls became transparent, showing them views of space they had never seen before, dark shapes moving between the stars, a wave of something terrible coming toward the galaxy. This is why we built the test, the voice said. We knew this day would come. We needed to find a species that could make the choice we could not make, ourselves. Chen felt the weight of the universe settling on her shoulders. What choice? The choice to save everyone, even if it costs you everything. The ancient voice paused, and Chen could feel sadness in it. Regret for something that happened long ago. We failed that test ourselves. We were too afraid to make the sacrifice. That is why we are gone, and you are here. We hope you will be braver than we were. Chen looked at her crew again. At Torres, who had danced their ship through impossible dangers. At Rodriguez, who chose wonder over fear. At Kowalski, who kept them flying when logic said they should fall apart. Show us what we need. to do, she said. The walls around them became like windows showing deep space. But this was not normal space. Captain Chen saw darkness moving between the stars. Not the empty darkness of space, but something alive and hungry. "What is that?" she asked. The ancient voice answered with sadness. "Dark matter, but not the kind your scientists know. This dark matter consumes everything it touches. Stars, planets, life itself. It turns everything into more darkness." Dr. Rodriguez was studying his instruments. "How fast is it moving?" "It will reach the outer systems of your galaxy in 18 months. Once it starts consuming stars, it will spread faster. Within 5 years, every world in the galaxy will be dead." Chen felt sick. "Can it be stopped?" "Yes. But the price is very high." The structure around them changed again. Now they could see a network of machines hidden throughout the galaxy. Thousands of them, maybe millions. They were connected by streams of energy that moved faster than light. "We built these stabilizers long ago," the voice explained. "They can create a barrier that the dark matter cannot cross, but someone must activate them manually from here." "That does not sound so bad," said Engineer Kowalski. "Just flip a switch and save the galaxy. The activation process requires someone to stay here and maintain the connection. The energy needed is enormous. It will destroy this facility and everything in it." Chen understood. "You mean it will kill whoever activates it?" "Yes. And not just one person. The network needs the life energy of everyone here to power it. Your entire crew would have to sacrifice themselves to save the galaxy." The bridge was quiet for a long moment. Chen looked at her crew. 200 good people who had families waiting for them at home. People who had volunteered for a dangerous mission but not for suicide. "Why did the other species not make this choice?" she asked. "They tried to find another way. They spent years studying our technology, looking for a solution that would let them survive. The Zephyrians tried to modify our machines. The collective tried to share the energy load across their hive mind. The Vorthons tried to build their own version of the network. Did any of their ideas work? No. There is no other way. Someone must die to save everyone else." Chen walked to the center of the bridge. She thought about Earth, about her sister, who was a teacher, about her nephew, who was 7 years old and wanted to be a spaceship captain when he grew up, about all the billions of people who did not even know this threat existed. "How long do we have to decide?" she asked. "The activation must happen within the next 6 hours. After that, the dark matter will be too close to stop." Chen turned to her crew. "You heard what they said. I will not make this choice for everyone. We need to vote." "Captain," Torres said. "Before we vote, I want to say something." Chen nodded. "I joined this mission because I wanted to explore space. I wanted to see new things and meet alien races. I never thought I would have to choose between my life and everyone else's life." She paused and looked around the bridge. "But that is exactly the choice we face, and I know what my answer is. My nephew will never forgive me if I let his world die because I was too scared to do the right thing." Dr. Rodriguez spoke next. "I became a scientist to help people, to learn things that would make life better for everyone. This is the most important discovery in human history, the chance to save every living thing in the galaxy. How can we walk away from that?" "Engineer." Kowalski was quiet for a moment, then he smiled. "My grandfather fought in the war on Earth. He told me that sometimes good people have to do hard things so that other people can live safe lives. I think this is one of those times." One by one, every person on the bridge spoke. Some cried. Some were scared. But every single one said the same thing. They would stay. They would activate the network. They would save the galaxy even if it killed them. "What about the rest of the crew?" Chen asked. "They should have a choice too." Chen opened a channel to the entire ship. She explained everything. The dark matter, the network, the choice they had to make. She told them the truth. Staying meant dying, but leaving meant watching the galaxy die. The votes came back quickly. 200 people, 200 votes to stay. "Captain," said Communications Officer Park. "I have a message from engineering. Chief Martinez says his team is honored to die for such a good cause. He also says the engines are ready for whatever comes next." "Medical bay reports ready," said another officer. "Dr. Kim says she has enough pain medication to keep everyone comfortable during the process." Chen felt tears in her eyes. She had known her crew was brave. But this was beyond brave. This was heroic. "All right then," she said. "Let us save the galaxy." The ancient voice spoke again. "Before you begin, there is something else you should know. Your sacrifice will not be forgotten. We have prepared a way to send a message to every world in the galaxy. They will know what you did. They will know that humans chose to save them all." "That is not why we are doing this," Chen said. "We know. That is exactly why you are the right species for this task." The structure began to change around them. New controls appeared. Systems that had waited 1,000,000 years for someone brave enough to use them. "The activation process will take 1 hour," the voice explained. "Once you begin, you cannot stop. Are you ready?" Chen looked at her crew one last time. These good people who had chosen death so that others could live. She had never been more proud to be human. "We are ready," she said, and they began to save the galaxy. Captain Chen placed her hand on the activation control. It was warm to the touch, like something alive. Around her, the bridge crew stood at their stations ready to do their jobs one last time. "Beginning activation sequence," she said. The moment her hand pressed down, everything changed. Energy flowed through the ancient structure like blood through veins. The walls glowed brighter. The air itself seemed to hum with power. "Network connections established," Dr. Rodriguez reported. His voice was steady, even though they all knew what was coming. "I am reading active links to stabilizers across the galaxy. Thousands of them, all waiting for our signal." Through the transparent walls, they could see the other alien ships. The Zephyrian crystal vessels began to glow. The collective bioships pulsed with light. Even the massive Vorthon war cruisers seemed to wake up after years of sleep. "The other crews," Torres said with wonder. "They are still alive." The ancient voice spoke to them all. "We kept them in deep sleep, hoping someone would come who could make the choice they could not make. Now they will wake to see what real courage looks like." On the main screen, Chen could see the faces of alien crew members appearing in the windows of their ships. Tall blue Zephyrians with their crystal eyes. The insect-like beings of the collective. Gray-skinned Vorthons with their 4 eyes wide with surprise. "They are seeing us," Communications Officer Park said. "They are seeing. Humans choose to die for them." The energy flowing through the structure was getting stronger. Chen could feel it in her bones. It was not painful yet, but she knew it would be soon. "Captain," Rodriguez said, "the network is at 30% power. I can see the effect starting. At the edge of the galaxy, the dark matter is slowing down." Chen opened a channel to the entire ship. She wanted to speak to her crew one more time. "This is the captain," she said. "I want everyone to know how proud I am to serve with you. In 1 hour, every person in the galaxy will be alive because of what we do here today. Our families will be safe. Children we will never meet will grow up and have children of their own." She paused, feeling the energy building around them. "We came here to solve a mystery. We found something bigger than that. We found our purpose. Humanity's purpose. We are the ones who step forward when no one else will. We are the ones who choose hope over fear." The structure shook as more power flowed through it. The energy was becoming visible now, streams of blue light running along every wall and ceiling. 50% power, Rodriguez reported. "The dark matter wave has stopped moving. The barrier is forming." Chen looked at the alien ships around them. Some of the crews were trying to communicate with them. She could see Zephyrians making gestures that might have been thanks. Collective drones were arranging themselves in patterns that looked like salutes. "They understand what we are doing," Torres said. "They know we are dying for them." The Vorthan ships were the closest. Through their windows, Chen could see Ambassador Krell himself, the same alien who had told them not to enter the maw. His 4 eyes were focused on her ship. As she watched, he raised one hand to his chest in what she realized was a Vorthon gesture of respect. "Network at 70%, Rodriguez said. His voice was getting weaker. The energy was starting to drain them all. Chen felt tired but also peaceful. This was right. This was what humans were meant to do. Not to build the biggest ships or have the best weapons, but to be the ones who stood up when the galaxy needed heroes. "Captain," Park said softly, "I am receiving a transmission. It is being broadcast to every world in the galaxy. What does it say? It is our story. Everything we did. How we got here. How we chose to save everyone." She paused. "The message says that humanity has proven themselves worthy to be the guardians of the galaxy." 80% power, Rodriguez whispered. "The barrier is complete. The dark matter cannot pass." Chen felt the energy pulling at her life force. Now. But she also felt something else. Pride. Joy. The knowledge that they had saved trillions of lives. "Listen to me, all of you," she said to her crew. "We are not dying today. We are being born. Born as legends. Born as the humans who saved the galaxy when no one else could." The ancient voice spoke one last time. "Your sacrifice will create something new. The network will remain active, powered by your choice. It will protect the galaxy forever. And your story will be told on every world until the stars grow cold." Chen thought about her nephew back on Earth, the boy who wanted to be a spaceship captain. Someday he would learn about his aunt who flew into a place called the Maw and saved everyone. Maybe he would be proud. 90% power, Rodriguez said, his voice barely a whisper. Through the transparent walls, Chen could see the alien crews watching them. Some were crying. Others were standing in salute. All of them understood that they were witnessing something miraculous. 100%, Rodriguez said. The energy reached its peak. For a moment, Chen felt connected to every star in the galaxy. She could sense the dark matter wave hitting the barrier and stopping. She could feel billions of lives continuing safely because of what they had chosen to do. The last thing she saw was a message appearing on screens throughout the galaxy. Ships, space stations, planets all receiving the same words. The humans of the UHSV Defiance have saved the galaxy. They chose to die so that all others might live. Remember them. Honor them. Be worthy of their sacrifice. As the light faded, around her, Captain Sarah Chen smiled. They had come to solve a mystery. Instead, they had shown the galaxy what it meant to be human. The Defiance was gone. But humanity's greatest mission was just beginning.